So I have here a very large old group planting of Juniper squamata mayeri. As I've mentioned to you on a number of occasions, the mayeri or Myers juniper was very popular for using as bonsai or bonsai material back in the 70s and 80s in the UK, but it has fallen into sort of popularity. This group, believe it or not, I started making when I first came to the nursery almost 40 years ago. So it's been a long time in the making. So these trees, if I remember rightly, you see how they expand. You see as the bark peels, as the trunks thicken, the bark peels to accommodate the growth and the size of the trunk. So they do thicken quite fast. So the fact that they've been here for nearly 40 years, that means it's been growing here for a long time, and during all that time the trunks have thickened. You can see tops of it like here have died. That original leader has died, a side branch popped up, and it's been growing in this basket. Because it's such a large group, I didn't have a pot large enough. I didn't have any of the pots large enough. These are pots I'm going to look at to see what I can put it in. Usually when I leave trees just to look after themselves, I put them into these bread baskets and let them fend for themselves. But there comes a point when I have to take it out and deal with it. So they've been growing in here, and I think the roots are quite good. The fact that it's so strong means that it is ready for its next stage. So I'm going to, first of all, before I do anything, look at the possibilities of improving the look of this tree. Well, it's leaning to the back a bit. I don't think it should be doing that. I think it should be more upright like that. See, that makes it look a bit better. And you notice that it has got really 4 trees. 1, 2, 3, 4. This bit is really part of this tree. So this is really this tree. But this top part has died, and a little side shoot has come up. For anyone who doesn't know any better, they would think that this is a marvelous group. But I know that it's not really so nice. Each of the trees need to be refined a little more to make them look more convincing. So the first thing I'm going to do is to try and configure to see how I can improve it. Like this branch here is clearly too long, much too long for this tree, much too long. So I will see how I can prune it back to get the branches much tighter. So I have to do all that. Like this one, I probably need to bring it down like that. These ones need to bring it down as well to make it more convincing as a tree. This is going all sorts of wonky ways. I can do a little bit of cheating and bring it round the other side. So you can do all sorts of little tricks to improve each of these trees. So I'm going to look at this project dispassionately and see how I can improve it. So the best way to look at it, the configuration is quite good. I'm not going to disturb it. It's quite nice. If you come close and look at the root, the surface roots, they're all well established, extremely well established. I'll probably cut it back to there and put it in a proper mica training pot or a ceramic bonsai pot. We will come to it when I've tidied the trees up. But the first task is to tidy the tree to give it a more credible look as individual trees in a forest. So have a good look at it, remember what it looks like, and I'm going to work on them. See, I can already see that by bringing this down, I will improve each of the trees. So I'm going to look at each of these in turn. I'm not going to rush it. So okay, rather than be sidetracked, I will look at this central tree first. This is clearly the central tree. So by bringing it down like this, you can see how it improves the look already. I did a little video yesterday about tip pruning of all junipers, and the Squamata is no exception. So we have to keep on top of it to keep it compact. But because we've got hundreds and hundreds of trees like this on the nursery, I can't get around to all of them. But while it's growing, they get strong and they can be brought back to a good condition with just a little bit of work. So I'm not too bothered about that. I'm absolutely not too bothered about that. So I don't want to break any branches. So that one can be brought down. This can be brought down like this. That can be taken to the back. And that's a nice head over there. Nice apex. That can remain like that. That can come down like that. That can come down that way. So I'm going to do a bit of wiring. You can see by pressing the branches down, this is how I'm going to wire them. So when I've wired it, I will show you the end result of improving this tree. So take a good look and remember what I'm going to do. So I've spent the last 20 minutes wiring some of the branches, but I haven't put them in place. So just let me show you some detail. I didn't want to waste too much video time. While I was wiring, I was about to peel some of the bark, but I'm sure some of you who are fairly new to making bonsai would like to see this. All junipers, whether it's Chinese juniper or these Squamata junipers, they shed the bark like this. And underneath that old bark, you'll find a lovely, vibrant new color. So from time to time, you've got to do this. Can you see how lovely the color is? So with a box cutter, a Stanley knife, this is what you do. You prise it open first. You remove the bark first before you brush it. Some people brush it. You can brush it, but it's better to save the brush by doing this. You wear your brush out if you just keep brushing it, but you remove the bark first on every side. And with this brass brush, there are two types of brush. You can get the nylon brush or the brass brush, and then you brush it. I'm showing you this step because sometimes once you put the wire on, it's not easy to get access to the bark again. So you see the difference when you remove the bark and tidy and smarten it up? The whole tree takes on a new complexion. It's like putting makeup on it. See like that. So I won't take too much time. Okay, now I've put wire on the branches. If you come close, you will see I put wire on all these branches, but I haven't put them in position deliberately because this is how the state of that tree was initially. So to make it less confusing, I'm just going to use the proverbial bag trick. Stay there. As I mentioned to you, there are 4 trees in this group. They're all separate trees. I'm concentrating all my attention on the first tree. So this is the first tree here. This is the tree I'm going to start. Look at it, it's beautiful. When you think that in all its life as a group, I have never wired the branches. I have never wired the branch. I've just let it grow. I put the trees together and I've just let it grow. Now is the time to do some wiring. I haven't cut anything off yet. I've just cut tiny little ends of the shoots like that, but I've not cut any branches. So now that I've wired it, I'm going to make that tree look like a proper individual tree. So that branch, I can make it come down much more. So for those of you again who don't understand why we bring the branches down, it's because in bonsai we're trying to make images of trees which are old. And old branches, or as they mature, the weight of the branches makes them hang downwards. So it gives it that aged look. So always do little zigzags, twists and turns, so they become less boring, like so. That one also can come down, these can come down like so. And that one shooting up, I can make it come down like that. And because that one, sometimes you can have too much of a good time, I'm going to take that off. I don't need that one. That can be a little gin. And if there's too much foliage, I can thin it a bit. So remember, every time you do this, you encourage bud back. And then this one can also come down like so. I put quite a lot of wire on this one. If I turn the tree around, you'll see how much wire I've put. Like this one is double and triple. If you come close, you'll see. Look at it. Double and triple, just to hold it in place to make it come down. This one I'm still wiring with a bit of this 3.5 mil wire. Could even be 4 mil. Because I want to bring this down. So let me turn the tree around to show you the effect I'm trying to create. That one is going to go down that way. Now we are just talking cosmetics. In the sense that we're just making the tree look nice. And because the tree is quite healthy and strong, all I've done is dust a bit of the old shoots. Do I need that? Probably don't need that. And that one I can make it go down that way. So that's like a little dome shape there. And this one can come down like so. So this is this tree. This one, let's see what I need. I think this one I can make it go down even more. There's a lovely bit of gin there. So I think that tree is more or less complete. This is all extraneous. This doesn't belong to that part of the tree. So if you can just concentrate on this tree, this is what this tree is meant to be. Look at it. It's a classic upright tree in its own right. So I'm trying to make each of these like that. So how beautiful is that? Now, looking at this one is more complicated because over the years, look at that side branch, it's become so long and I've got to get the pads tight to make it more of a tree that is struggling against nature. Now, we find trees, especially junipers, which have a lot of dead wood, driftwood, and it represents its struggle against the elements. And this tree, because we've neglected somewhat, I just put it in a corner of the nursery for the last 20 years or so, forgot about it, and let it fend for itself. So it's really been struggling. This tree part died, but that is alive. So all these, see, the top has died, rotted away, but the rest of this has become strong. So it's really a true representation of what you would find in nature where trees are struggling against all odds. Now, I don't want that bit there because that seems to be a distraction. So certain things are quite obvious. Now, if we look at the tree carefully, this is the back side. Look at it. This has started sprouting a new leader. In effect, like a new leader. I don't want that one. I don't want that one. So let's cut that off completely and perhaps use it for making a gin on the other side. Tearing, making a gin there. This is a bit too long. Let's turn the tree around. By the way, I haven't mentioned the front and the back. This is obviously the front. It's always meant to be the front. So I've got rid of that distraction there. This can be used. Depends what I want to do with that. Now that's a nice pad. That's a nice pad like so. Sometimes if you want that sparse look and the tree is too lush, it gives the wrong impression. Now look at this branch. Because I said I left these trees to grow and fend for themselves, look at this long branch has become like that, doubled back on itself. This should never have happened. So I will take that off. I don't need that one. Off it comes. So I'm just concentrating on these pads like so. I may bring it back on itself so it doesn't look so far out of reach, as it were. Okay, I'm going to do some wiring here, some jiggery pokery, and we'll see what comes of this tree. So I'm now going to concentrate on this tree, this side. This is what I need to make to look credible. There's much too much there. I'm going to see how I can make it look more compact. So leave me to do some wiring and I'll return to this again. Okay? So let me show you the next phase of my work. So as I mentioned already, the central tree, the tallest one, that is more or less finished as it is. Now this tree on the right hand side, I put that bag there because this is how I'm going to leave that sweeping branch to the right, because there was so much growth. If I left that bit, that is far too much. So all that top growth which I hid with the bag, this is going to come off. Let me put the bag again. I'm working on my own at the moment because all the staff have gone home. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all that off. And this gin here, this gin will be thinned a little bit so that it looks less cumbersome or less crude. So with one hand holding the camera and another hand on my Felco secateur, I'm going to do this. Maybe little bits of gin there. These can all be gin to show that the tree has been struggling against all odds, against the elements. And that is how I would leave that tree. So I'm going to refine some of those gins. No carving tool involved. I'm just going to thin it a little bit. And then I will look at these two trees on the sides. So I've only worked about 45 minutes so far, and I've more or less done most of the wiring that I need to do. So this is quite an interesting little exercise, and I'm really, really pleased with it. Refresh your memory. I worked on it for about an hour and a bit the other day, and I gave it a rest. So what I did in that 1 hour was to rewire some of these branches to make it hang down. This branch, which is on this side, was on this side before, but I thought I'd bring it this side because I wanted to leave this space. This branch I also shortened by bringing it back on itself. It was stretched out here that far. So you notice that I've bent this branch back double, 180 degrees almost, back to this side to tighten the growth. So there are two levels here. This side I haven't done much. And because it was growing in the bread basket to revive the tree, it was leaning back. So why did I leave this for so long? I left it for 15 or 20 years because, as I mentioned, this species, Juniper squamata, is no longer popular. No one wanted it. So I just threw it to the side of the nursery and it was languishing there for the last 15 or 20 years. But then I thought, let's revive it again. So it seems a shame to have thrown it away. So the disposition in the pot, the disposition is very important, because unless you have the right ideas to how it will finally appear in its pot, you can't really design the tree. So this tree should really lean slightly towards us. So just propping it up another 5 or 10 degrees, leaning more upright, gives the tree a different feeling altogether. So this is how I want it to look, leaning like that. What strikes me looking at this composition, it is very, very flat. There is very little perspective and depth to it. I know it's been growing in here for a long while. Let me see if I can rearrange the trees and get a better arrangement. So I'm going to put this clump of trees in the front and see what happens. Many of these things I do from instinct, because after having done bonsai for so long, I know what works and what won't work. But a lot of it comes from experimenting. It's only by trying new things that you will get more experience as to what is suitable and what is not suitable. So I'm going to take this apart and try and reconfigure the arrangement. Now that we are into the middle of September, it's almost getting into autumn, and I can tinker with the roots much more. You notice that the soil is not all your akadama and very gritty substrate. It's almost completely organic. Trees grow in any type of soil. You don't have to be fussy about that. You must be wondering why the mesh is there, because that bread basket has such large holes. So the mesh was just to prevent the soil from being washed away. And lo and behold, looking closer, if you come closer with the camera, you will see that there's sphagnum moss underneath. So this tree was planted in sphagnum moss to revive its fortunes, to make it grow better. So the sphagnum moss trick has kept it well alive. Look at all that sphagnum moss there. There you go. Look at that. Look at the beautiful roots that have come. So I've separated that clump with this clump. Now if I brought it slightly forward like this, I think it gives it a slightly different look. If you look from this side, let me look at it myself to see how it sits. Just bringing it forward a little bit gives it more perspective. Before, when it was flat, it was just like soldiers on parade. That didn't look very nice like that. But once you bring it forward like this, it gives it depth. So I think I will plant it in a pot at this angle, and it should look better straight away. And then I will tinker with all these branches to make it look more tree-like. This, by the way, is completely dead, but it's a feature. It's only half the tree is dead. This is connected to this. This part is live, this part is dead. So with one dead tree in the front, gives it quite a lot of character. So, because this is a group, the disposition of the trees in the group is what makes the group work or will not work. So let's try planting it like this. This is much better than before. It also makes it more compact. Now the big question is, what pot can I use? I know I can use a round pot. For planting groups like this, you can either use a round pot or an oval pot. So let's try and put it now in a pot and see what happens. I think I can squeeze it into that, or I can use an oval pot. Okay, so let me prepare the roots and see how I can get it in that pot. It's going to be a tight squeeze. Ooh, very tight squeeze. I have to tease all the roots out. Fortunately, it's on mesh. So I'm going to take it apart. I'm not going to disturb the two trees which are planted like that. Again, you look at the sphagnum moss there. It's made it grow so well. This morning I met Duncan from New Zealand, and he was telling me that following my advice, and in New Zealand they get moss in a plenty, so all his stuff is planted in sphagnum moss. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to reduce the root ball. I don't need to show you this, save you a bit of video time. I'm going to reduce this root ball. So let me show you what I decided to use. I decided to use this large dark blue Yisheng oval pot, and I teased the root ball quite a bit on this side, and I noticed that there's a big root there. I didn't cut that off because that seems to be the main root. If I cut it off, it may be a bit too drastic, so I will keep that. The soil is very friable, very open mix, and it was growing on that plastic mesh, so I won't waste any of it. I use it again. As I say, I hate waste. So you notice that I put 2 wires through, because I'm going to tie the group together with wire. So that's what the wire is for. I always remind people you don't have to tie, but it's safer to tie. If you tie, then there's no danger of the trees getting knocked out. Okay, so let's put this main group here first. Poof, it is so tight, very, very tight, extremely tight. And then this one here in the front, like so. It's always tempting to go for larger and larger pots, but where do you stop? You know, if you keep looking for large pots, you end up with pots which are much too large, and you run out of pots. Okay, I think that fits. So all I have to do now is fill the pot with soil. So the soil will prop it up, and I will show that in just a minute. I'll get on with this. What a transformation. Just putting it in this oval pot. It was a tight squeeze. I didn't cut any root off. I just shook the soil off and I packed all the roots back in there, and I've just filled it up. So this is what it's now looking like. Much tighter group with this dead tree right in the center of the composition. I know that I still have to create like a triangular formation. This branch is still a bit too wide, so I'm going to put some guy wires and bring it back like that, tight into the tree. I can't lower it because it's a very stiff, thick branch. I just bring it back close. Now this which I maneuvered on that side, I'll bring it back onto this side so that I can fill the gap of the space on the right hand side. I'll show you what I mean, exactly what I mean. Like so. Can you see I've turned it from this side to this side. So I get that triangle filled over there with that branch. And then this one I'm going to wire down here. That one I haven't decided what to do, but I'm going to wire these, and when I wired it I'll show it to you again. So it's just fine wiring to do to this tree or to these trees, and we will see how they look. Okay, so it's only minor cosmetic effects. So you can see the transformation of this group. So we've got so far, we've covered the surface with moss to make it look a bit tidier. So the composition is still with this dead tree in the middle, and some of these long branches has been brought to the side to make it appear as if this dead tree is not dead but has some fake branches there. So this growing this side has been taken that side to complete the triangle. This has been completed with a triangle. If you come close, we've done a bit of cheating here. We've used a branch from the live tree to tie it to the dead tree here, or to tie it to this tree. So these two branches don't belong to this tree. It belongs to the back tree. So that's a bit of cheating, but everything is okay as long as the final effect is okay. So now I'm going to pull that up because I want to complete the triangle. So can you see what I'm doing here? I'm trying to pull that up, which is leaning right to the back. I hope it won't snap on me. And then I still have one or two things to wire. Let me just show you what the last bit I'm wiring. So all these long straggly branches, which are about 12 inches or 30 centimeter long, I'm bending and twisting it to shorten the branch, because I didn't trim it while it was growing, but I can still utilize it like this. So nothing is lost. Nothing is wasted. So these long branches I'm going to bring down like this, and this I'm going to take up to form as if another tree at the back. Take that to the back there. Oopsie. And this can go down like that. This goes downwards here. I will probably have to put some thick wire on that trunk to bend it, because it won't bend. So sometimes you've got to use thick wire. Don't despair. This wire, once it's on the tree for, say, about a year or two at the most, these trunks will remain in that position. So it won't be too long to wait. Let's try bending it again. Bending it up. That's done it. So that's filled that space there. So that branch was literally leaning horizontal. I've made it vertical. So I filled that space over there with that branch. So I've got roughly a triangular shape. I know this leans a bit, but I can't help that very much. So I hope you like this group. So we've tried to rejuvenate or resuscitate a group that had seen better days, but it is being revived. And with most of these projects, they always say it is like a phoenix arising from, its sleep or whatever. So that's the start of the journey again. And as I say, with Squamata, if you take the trouble to clean out all the brown bits that squamatas are prone to producing, it will look very good. So there you go. From a basket case, in case people don't know the expression basket case, this is a bread basket. Basket case means a lost cause. We've made it into something very beautiful and very nice. So from basket case to a beautiful group. So I hope you enjoyed this one.